share our story is Ammit's story. And I've always said this business is all about stories. And I remember when I started my business early on in February of 2009, I had the pleasure of having Ray Monty as my mentor. And he told me, Kirk, you got to have a story. And I said, Ray, I got a story. I just don't know how to put it into a form where I could tell it in any short period of time. He said, figure it out. Like, that's how he tells you, figure it out. So I do want to share my story with you guys and a little bit of my Ambit journey. You know, my wife and I, we met back in 1992, 2 young kids in an Irish bar, Norbert, a good bar, by the way. And, we started dating. We've been together 26 years. We've been married for 21 years. We have 2 sons. My oldest son is here at Ambition this year, the first time. Justin. So, my dream was to be a firefighter. It became a reality in 1996. It was one of the best days of my life. Up until that point, I was a truck driver, and I hated it. My dad, growing up, told me and my 3 brothers, whatever you do, don't become truck drivers, and all 4 of us became truck drivers. When you do it, you know. It's a fact that you don't have to be smart to do this business. But anyways, I got into the fire department, and I took a $20,000 per year pay cut. So to make up the difference, I started working side jobs. And then I started living a life that depended on that second income. And, I was doing what a lot of young people do. I bought new trucks, snowmobiles, ATVs, jet skis. I had all the toys. Not because I was buying them outright, but because I had good credit. And I'm sure many people in here can relate to that. If you're trading your time for money, you have to buy things that way. And that's what we were doing. But I was young, and I wasn't worried about not ever being able to provide for my family. And I got a reality check in 2002. 7 years into the fire department, my wife was pregnant with our second son. I went for a doctor's appointment 4 days after he was born, and they told me I had an aortic dissection that turned into an aneurysm, and if it bursts, you'll die instantly. They said your career as a fireman's over. Assuming your surgery goes well, you'll be on disability for the rest of your life. I was devastated. They took me out of work. And that's where the downward spiral began for my wife and I. We started going deep into debt with no way out. And thank God I was able to come back to being a firefighter. Unfortunately, I had to go get another part-time job. I went back to trucking. Then I ended up out of work a few more times. 3 years after getting back into the firehouse, I was dumb enough to get on a roof, fell off the roof head first, 10 feet, broke my wrist. I was out of work again. I would have broke my neck if I had one. And I was out of work for the second time. And my wife wanted to kill me. Come back to the firehouse, go back to trucking. 3 years later, we had a big snowstorm. The guys on my shift at the firehouse were going snowmobiling. Sounded like a good idea. I decided to go. 10:30 at night, I hit a tree at over 50 miles an hour. Almost killed myself again. And I was asking if anybody needs a ride home. But I was out of work for the 3rd time. And I was invited to an Ambit presentation. I was a guest of a guest, okay? We went to this presentation. It was my good fortune. Ray Monty was one of the presenters, along with a couple other leaders, an attorney for the state of New York, and a woman who's the wife of a firefighter. So that kind of dropped my guard, and I was pretty open to listening. Honestly, when I went there, I thought I was going to listen to a part-time job offer. And I was pretty excited after the presentation. Went home, tried to explain it to my wife. She crushed me like a bug. She said, you're not doing this. I couldn't sleep. I was thinking to myself, if this is real, this could be big. I decided to get started without telling her. So I tell everybody my first why in Ambit was to make my investment back before my wife got her credit card statement. I did that. So I started my Ambit journey. And, I do believe things happen for a reason. I had the good pleasure of, within my first couple weeks, Chris and Jerry were in Albany, New York speaking, and I heard them both speak, and I said, this is bigger than I ever thought. And from day one, I treated it like a real business. I fast-tracked the regional consultant, I fast-tracked the senior consultant, and then the struggle started, which they start for all of us. Like Ray has always said to me, this is not an easy business, it's a simple business. And, I had my struggles. I worked through, I came to Ambition in 2009, come back, had a little bit of success, and it died off. And I remember Chris Chambliss was coming to Utica, New York for a lunch presentation, and, you know, it was limited space. A few of us were invited, and I was the only person at that presentation that didn't have a guest, and it killed me. I mean, you might as well rip my heart out. And I remember going to Chris afterwards. I said, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I could not get one person here to buy them lunch. And he said, you're not doing anything wrong. You just haven't found the right people yet. You've got to keep going. By February of 2010, my business exploded. And it wasn't all because of me, but it exploded. And we had over 200 consultants a month joining our team. And I remember Ray, myself, and Brian being on a phone call. And Brian, you know, we were all excited. And Brian goes, man, that's not good leadership. That's divine intervention. And, you know, but that was the start of my Ambit journey. And then I promoted to executive consultant within 18 months. And, you know, continue to grind it out. I was working full-time as a firefighter for 7 years while building my Ambit business, and I made a lot of sacrifices. I took vacations to build my Ambit business. We did nothing. My family and I did pretty much nothing for 7 years straight while I went out and built this business, and they made the ultimate sacrifice to allow me to go out and create a life for them that, you know, our life is completely transformed. Over the last 12 months, my wife and I, who hadn't had a real vacation in 7 years, went to Alaska on a cruise, went to New Mexico hunting, we went to Thailand and Dubai. You know, these are all things we've done in the last 12 months. I've been to several concerts with some of my best friends in Ambit, and, you know, our life is dramatically transformed. And I just want to tell everybody in here that this is not easy. It is work. It is networking. But it's a better way. You know, ask yourself, would you rather keep working for the next 40, 50 years, or would you rather go out and get a bunch of no's and get rejection and get a couple of yeses, and you find somebody that finds somebody that finds somebody, and all of a sudden your family's future's changed forever. That's what we have in front of us, guys. You have to treat this like a real business and go out and make it happen for your family, because it's in your hands. You know, the last thing I'll tell you is my sponsor right out of the gate told me to lose his number. I've never talked to that guy again, but I didn't quit. It didn't matter whether he helped me or not. I had to fix my situation, and whether he helped me or not, I had to do it. So I went out and I made it happen. So that's what you guys need to do. You need to go out and make it happen for you and your family. This truly is the greatest opportunity we'll ever see in our lifetime, and I wholeheartedly believe that. And I go out every week, travel hundreds of miles, you know, building my team all over the Northeast. I have a big team in Massachusetts. I have a big team in Connecticut. I would drive 7 hours to Western Maryland to build my team. I made a lot of sacrifices. I put a lot of miles on. It's work, guys. It is work, but it's worth it, because I'm now 48 years old. I don't work for anybody. I sleep till I'm done, and it was well worth it. So, guys, take in all the information today, and when you leave here, I've said this before, you don't need an airplane to fly home, because you're going to be so high that you can't wait to get home and build your business. So have a great ambition. Thank you.